Hey friends, you ever wonder why so many people in China are so deeply brainwashed? It's not because they're dumb, it's because they're distracted. Every day, they are buried under CCP controlled headlines, clickbait outrage, and endless noise until they lose sight of the big picture. You see, life, politics, or markets, they don't freeze, they compound. But most people in China, they just react like goldfish with 3-second short term memory loss. And here's the scary part, that blindness isn't just a weakness, it's a weapon. Because China didn't just weaponize distraction, it turned it into an industry. And now, China is not just exporting cheap products anymore, it is exporting delusions too. A whole machinery of lies designed not only to brainwash its own people, but to brainwash the entire world. And unlike in the West, where propaganda is a part time sport for politicians, in China, it is a full time industry. They basically industrialized lying. And this isn't one department, it's a whole machine. Armies of full time myth-makers with budgets, buildings, and KPIs for deception. From Beijing's central government to the smallest county office, there is a propaganda department. And let's call it what it is, the BS department. And their job? Manufacture illusions and sell them to the public like cheap fireworks. And it's not just official lies from CCTV or Xinhua News. China's self-media cloud, they joined the circus. Fake news farms, patriotic trolls, paid influencers, or spinning the same recycled fantasies. Some do it for clicks, some for cash from the propaganda department, and some for free. Like unpaid interns in hell. So if you are trying to make sense of China, good luck. You're not just fighting ignorance, you are fighting a billion-dollar disinformation machine. So, how do you cut through the fog? Simple. Follow the money. Ignore the slogans, but watch the exits. Not every rich person is smart, but the ratio, I would say, is better than average. And in China, many of the rich started from nothing, all right? Brains, hustle, timing, and yes, a little, guanxi connection. Quick story, I remember when I worked in Beijing finance, a mentor back then told me that, Ken, ignore the lofty speeches, track the money transfers. And a few months later, one of the loudest patriotic investors quietly moved his capital to Singapore. And that is when I learned, some people talk loyalty and others just book flights. Back in the boom years, China felt like a cheat code for getting rich. You could throw money at anything, property, internet startup, even pig farms, and walk away richer during the bubble years. And foreign money flooded in too. The China miracle was the hottest trade on earth, and maybe still on Wall Street. But here's the truth. Miracle is just economic cycle with better PR. A decade ago, Hong Kong tycoon Li Jiacheng, Li Ka-shing, saw the storm coming and started pulling out. People said, well, he was paranoid, he was too old. Turns out, he was prophetic. Soon after, foreign investors quietly slip out the back door too. And by mid-2023, even Beijing's own data admitted it. Foreign direct investment, FDI, flipped negative, down nearly $15 billion. That's not just a wobble, that's basically a U-turn. And now, the Chinese rich are joining the escape party. According to Nikkei, around 14,000 millionaires left China in 2023, and another 15,000 in 2024. Sounds like a stampede. And they're not leaving with suitcases only. They're leaving with empires, money networks, influences, gone. So what are they seeing that other people aren't? Simple. A perfect storm. First, the economy. Real estate is collapsing. Assets are bleeding. And growth, dead on arrival. Plus, you can't build lasting wealth in a country where there is still little respect for private property rights. And second, geopolitics. China is quarreling with everyone. Taiwan, Japan, the Philippines, the US. And at home, war talk is trending. Loud online, quiet at the airport. And recently, you've got nationalist influencer bragging that he will donate 50 million yuan if China invades Taiwan. Sure, pal. You'll be the first in line at customs when the sirens go off. Who wants to live in the same country with this kind of idiot? And third, the local tyrants. China's red aristocrats, officials, Chairman Xi, who can nuke entire industries with one bad mood. Remember how Xi wiped out tech, education, and gaming overnight, just a few years ago? Yeah, that. So ask yourself, if you build your fortune in China, would you stay to be their next target? Didn't think so. So where's all that money going? The US, Canada, Singapore, Malaysia, Japan, the usual suspects. Notice a pattern? Rule of law, property rights, predictability. Basically countries where the tree is solid and the birds can rest easy. Because wealth is just smart birds choosing safe trees. Meanwhile, in China, the trees are rotting and the whole forest is on fire. And then came Xi Jinping's big slogan and threat, common prosperity, 共同富裕. Sounds noble, right? Totally inspiring. Until you realize it's basically redistribution by press conference. They call it prosperity. The rich call it legalized looting, patriotic donations, voluntary contributions. Yeah, sure. Next time you hear those phrases, check your bank account. So, the wealthy did the only rational thing left. They packed their assets, their families, and their futures and ran. If the smart money is running, what exactly are the rest staying for? National pride or permission from Chairman Xi? Here's what most people miss. Running from tyranny isn't cowardly. It is cultural heritage. 2,000 years ago, the book of Songs, 诗经, called corrupt rulers fat rats, 硕鼠. And the people's response, we're done feeding these, fat rats. That was the original Run movement 2,000 years ago. The real Chinese tradition. Not the fake nationalism being spoon-fed today. Even Confucius said, birds choose where to rest, not the other way around. Meaning, people choose where they can live in peace. And Mengzi, Mencius, he added that if the wall is crumbling, don't stand beneath it. So when Chinese entrepreneurs flee abroad, that's not weakness. That is self-rescue. It's not, giving up on life. It is waking up. The smartest rebellion against a broken system is simple. Stop feeding it. Because what they are saving is not just their money. It is dignity, freedom, and the right to live like humans, not hostages. Beijing loves to shout about the great national rejuvenation. But the only rejuvenation that actually matters is personal. Your freedom, your options, your future. Because a country that keeps driving away its smartest, richest, most capable citizens doesn't deserve royalty. It deserves a long, hard, critical look in the mirror. Mencius said it best. A nation must first be lovable for its people to love it. And if it's unlovable, built on fear, lies, and theft, then the smart ones do what smart people have always done. They leave. And that's exactly what is happening.